Hey everybody, this is On Screen, Off Screen, show where we like to review the media intake we've had for the previous week and talk about how it affects us, how what we were doing or how we feel affects how we were watching it, what we got out of it, that kind of stuff. This week is our final special week for our kind of anniversary watching. The first time we've recorded actually after it's been a year, since we recorded the last ones a little bit early. So it's very exciting. This week we are back as a trio again because Conlon isn't busy doing some lame stuff like swinging on vines and getting injured. We have Lauren, who is just the greatest of all time, and we have Conlon, who's not, but is a symbol of perseverance in my mind, and that should be applauded. This week we are talking about our top 10 favorite books. We were just having a little bit of a chat. I was surprised that I got more than 10 books to talk about because I'm not a big book person. Lauren was surprised that she only had 10 books to talk about, mostly because this isn't a topic where I was able to, like, what about this? What about this? What about this? Which is what I did with TVs and movies. Conlon, how are you feeling about your list?
I feel good, but mine hasn't changed a whole lot in the last year.
Hasn't
Honestly.
changed at all?
Yes, but very, very little.
Very, very little. Okay. Just like our previous top 10 renewal episodes, I put together a few little questions that we could talk about. So my first one is, for both of you guys, how important do you think actual literature is today? Like actually physically reading from like a book or a tablet where you're reading, you're not just listening to it.
Like you're saying actually just reading a book, cracking open a book and reading it.
Yeah, like how important do you think it is? Because historically, reading has been the way we've gotten our knowledge, etc., etc. Movies and TVs have come out; they affect the brain differently. Yeah, but a lot more studies are showing that audiobooks are just as effective as actually reading. So, how important do you think that skill is?
If I think a book is important, I try to buy it and have a physical copy of it. Because I am so like I'm a little tinfoil hat when it comes to like um, online things because I feel like I don't really own it if it's on a streaming service or if I download it. Um, so I'm always kind of scared that it can be taken away or edited somehow. So, I mean, you could easily also edit a book before like printing it out and stuff, but I feel like that's a lot harder than just hacking into it and like fixing things. So I do think important books. I think it's important to have like history books, physical history books, and things like that. And plus, like, I love having a physical book for like when I'm camping or something like that because then you have, like, you don't need service, you don't need power. It's always there. You're not going to run out of battery and your book poof is gone. So I like having like the availability of an actual book. Um, but it is really easy and um, convenient to have like Audible. And I'm trying to think of what the book app is called. But I
Libby,
what
Libby,
Libby?
or
Libby, or there's like another one that they had like a Nook or
Nooks?
something.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Um, like those are like super convenient, and I'm not saying like don't have that, but I think like of my favorite books and things, I feel like I like having a physical copy of them as well, and I think it's important. Um, yeah, I do like Audible though because I used to read a lot, and I would know these words by how they are written, and but I'd never heard them aloud. So then sometimes I'd like try to say a word like how I'd been reading it, and people are like, "That is."
Shambolion, right, Conlon?
So it's like it's kind of funny. So I think like I think it's important to have printed books. I don't think that you have to have just printed books. I think it's valuable to have all forms, but I think it's still valuable to have a physical copy.
I think it depends on the book. Um, like, I think studying a book is different than just reading. So for a story, I don't think it actually matters as much, and my tone on that has shifted quite a bit in the last probably 6 months. Where it's a fun book, where it's a Pet Cemetery or a Dungeon Crawler Carl, like I don't think it matters as much. Something like the Bible, yeah, I think the reading the Bible and like really studying what they were trying to get into is important. Or if you're dealing with like a deeper philosophy type book, something like that where it requires more of you, I do think actually reading it has a benefit. The other benefit that is not used nearly enough in psychology, they actually help people deal with trauma by having them read aloud because they can look at people's brains and it will rewire their brains as they're reading aloud. But it requires that kind of reading. And I don't do that nearly enough, even though there's a lot of scientific evidence behind that. That we really should be applying more often. But when you're reading to your kids or you and your spouse decide to read a book together and you read aloud, it causes you to pause more and to become a better orator. And it's a skill that isn't used nearly enough.
Okay, so
Also,
what would you say about its importance?
I think it's important, but I think the best benefits of it are not being used as much as they used to be and as much as they should be now. To Lauren's point about a physical book, I like BookTube, where people have these like wonderful backgrounds of books. And I'm like, I want to be that person. I have a bookcase right next to me. But Kindle is just so much better. I just it's way better than a physical book. I am fully on Kindle because I can have that entire bookcase that's next to me in my hand, and I can like read it like this. I can read it like this. I can read it however I want. It's this nice, light, little, wonderful thing with a battery that lasts a month. It's fantastic. Ebooks are the best. Ebooks are the future. I'm all about it.
I do think Lauren's point about the alterations is very interesting. I'm not sure if you guys are aware or not, but they just announced they're doing a remaster of Star Wars, the original trilogy, but for the first time, they're using the original film that was used
That's
when
cool. I
doing
know
it.
that.
So they're not doing a touch up over a touch up over a touch up any this time. They're pulling the original thing, which I think is pretty cool. I don't know that I care enough to actually like invest in watching this, but I do think it's cool that they're taking the steps to be like, okay, this has been ran over digitally with a bus at this point. Let's break it back down to the original stills that were captured. So that is a very interesting point that I didn't take this question down. Uh, But I am a little bit different, so I'm going to play a little bit of devil's advocate. I actually don't think it's very important anymore. Um, there are some good things that come out of it. I do think that there are some nice to haves, which is what I would put what you guys have said into. Like, there's some nice things that come with physically reading a book. But there's so much research about how your brain activates the same way if you're listening to a book versus actually physically reading it, which was very interesting to me. I would have predicted otherwise. Um, and I think that's pretty cool. So, books as a whole, I still think are important, but I don't see a big enough difference in physically reading versus listening to have a big difference. And I think a good narrator can take boring subjects like a history textbook and elaborate and make it way more interesting and involving to go into. Um, so that builds off to my next conversation topic. How do you think it compares to other art in terms of importance? Um, like I would say historically, books were the most important form of art because they don't just create things and translate and do all those things. It also stores our history and all that kind of other stuff. Um, but now I'm actually kind of shifting to where I'm actually viewing other art forms a little bit more importantly, um, because I just don't see enough of it anymore. Everything is becoming digital and modern art garbage. You don't see a Michelangelo statue that was made just for the heck of it, or we're gonna build the Colosseum and make it really cool just to be really cool. Like our architecture's gotten less artistic and less interesting, um, and I think that's been very reflective of society. Like McDonald's itself has become less artistic since the '90s, um, and I think that the blandness is reflective, and I don't like that very much.
Um, for like how you worded the question of whether like books are the most important compared to other creative things, was that what it was?
Yeah, how do you think it compares to other art in terms of importance?
I think it's unfair to compare. I think they're all equally important because art speaks differently to different people. So there's like somebody who's going to resonate better with dance than somebody who's going to resonate with a painting. Or somebody like yourself that you're saying how you can't visualize things in your head, a movie is gonna hit way better than words on a page. So I think that art, in all terms, in expressing creativity, the human condition, because like way back in the day, they didn't have words; they had paintings on a wall, and that recorded their histories. Um, and like just seeing like everything throughout life, I think that all creativity outlets are equally needed because it depends on who you are for how it hits. And that's it's so versatile. I think, yeah, I think it's all great and all of it has history in it if you know where to look. Because like even within pottery and stuff with a lot of ancient peoples, like that would record some of their history with it. Um, but I do agree with you that I'm really mad that AI has taken over the creativity stuff, leaving us to like, because like the thing that I think AI should be doing is it should be used as a tool and it should be doing the work that is getting in the way of our creativity and creating things. Um, so yeah, I think it's all equally important. I think books, reading, dancing, singing, making, creating is all important equally.
I'm gonna disagree with you about the AI stuff, because while I see your point, it also gives non-artistic people a chance to be artistic.
That's why I said it's great as a tool.
Well, like for me, I can't create, I can't do artistic things, but I
Mm-hmm.
was able to have AI create for me a video of a whale climbing up a hill and being relieved at the end, right? Like I cannot physically do that. I don't have the skills and patience necessary to accomplish that. Um, so I'm okay with AI doing art. I don't have any kind of problem with that. My point was solely that even art that is done now is done digitally. Like I follow a bunch of artists on TikTok, and what do? They draw on an iPad, so they automatically get a smooth line. One of my favorites is like she does a random generator, and she's like, "We're gonna do Crunk in the Cars universe or whatever." So she draws, and it's really cool, but it's
Yeah,
all digital.
yeah,
So
well, that's fine.
I was pointing out that I'm missing the physical. Like we're not doing statues and
Yeah, there are so there
abstract art
like
pieces anymore.
there are people that are still making those type of statues. There's just not as many, and they're not as like publicized because it's not quick and easy. It's not fast and stuff. And there are digital artists, but there are still canvas artists. There's still like I hardly do any. of my work online. I do most of my work in books and sketches and stuff like that because online is very hard for me. Um, but yeah, and I don't think that that takes away from digital artists. I think digital artists are awesome. I think canvas artists are awesome. I think all of that creativity is needed and equal.
Conlon, you have any thoughts?
I strongly disagree with the we just don't build coliseums or anything anymore. I'm looking at the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, and that building is freaking awesome. And there are buildings all around the world that are getting built constantly that are really, really cool. If you go to the Parade of Homes, then you get to just see like a normal person's house. They have a lot of money. They're not broke people. They have a lot of money, but these houses are super cool. They're very well designed. Like they're very artistic. The guy who started Crumble is here in Utah, and his house was on the Parade of Homes this last year, and his house is super cool. He's got his pool, and it's like engraved with his initials, like his crest, and it's sick. Like it's a cool house. Um, there's a lot of stuff like that going on. We might not see the art anymore, maybe, but it happens. When we were in Florida, I went to a random art house, and this guy casts things out of bronze, and he casts an old submarine or an old navy guy, and he had like the like Scooby Doo looking breath tank helmets. It was all cast out of bronze, and the details were crazy, and the amount of detail that he had to shift, and the amount of times that he had to remake this statue because it's what the Navy wanted was mind blowing. He spent years just doing it over and over and over again. So I don't think that kind of art is dead. I think it keeps coming. Is it the same as somebody who's a Michelangelo who devotes every aspect of his life to this and he's got a calling and he's literally kind of a God sent artist? Maybe not. But there's amazing buildings being built constantly.
So I want to jump in right there. You called
Yeah.
out the Burj Khalifa. That's over 20 years old at this point.
Okay.
I'm not saying that art is dead
Okay.
completely. I'm saying we don't enjoy it and do it anymore. Like when you walk down the street, what do you see? The same house after the same house after the same house after the same house. Like everything is so financially dependent now. Like even if you go to the tallest building in the world, it wasn't built artistically, it was built engineering wise. They built it because they wanted the tallest building in the world.
I
So
don't
you may look
think
at
that's
it
the
and
case.
see art in it, but the reality is it was built the way it was to be the tallest building in the world.
There's an aspect to that, yes, but I also think there's an artistic aspect. I think people care about the art and creating something that is beautiful. There's
But when
a
it was being built, the architect was doing it mechanically, not
mechanically
artistically.
and artistically. I think it can
No,
be both.
he
The
did
Mona
it
Lisa
mechanically.
required tons and tons of math to actually be able to do. It was an artistic and a mathematic creation. Both were required. Both can be real.
Yes, they can. I'm talking about the tallest building in the world right now.
Yeah, I
He
know.
built it completely mechanically to be the tall. I'm telling you that. I'm not arguing. I'm telling you that.
Okay.
Like he built it because that's the way it had to be built for it to be the tallest building in the world. He wasn't in there like, we're gonna add a big statue of the CEO of this building and engrave it into the side just because. That's what I think is dead. Is the just because, right?
Okay.
Like we we have four presidents into a monument. We have in Detroit the big arch, right? We have the bean thing in wherever that is. We have all
Chicago.
these like, yeah, older art pieces that were built just because. And that is kind of like gone. Like yes, some very wealthy people will do it. But it's not like a thing that people are doing very much anymore.
But I don't think that it's ever been done a lot. Like Michelangelo was a rare thing still. The Sistine Chapel was a rare thing to be done.
Yeah,
Building the
Walk
Colosseum
down the
was a
streets
rare
of
thing
Rome.
to be done.
What did you see?
Big fancy
Was it
building.
a copy and paste? Every
There's
family
there's still
wanted
going to
to
be
stand out
shacks.
and be
There's
on
still going to
its
be
own.
shacks that are the normal person houses. That is kind of a copy paste thing. You have different decorations on the inside. Is it quite as much when we have modern construction? No, but yes. Go on.
we're getting so far away from the question, which is, do you think that books are like comparative to other creative things more important or less important?
How did that connect to things being to the other artistic question?
There wasn't a question. I think you just went off of something that
Oh, I
Josh
just went off.
commented.
Okay. As far as books being less or more important, I think books are still the most important, but I would say they're becoming less so. A lot of your best movies, best adaptions that really do affect culture come from books originally. So you have some great mind that brings this book into life, and then you have a medium that is more accessible to more people that then largely takes over.
All right. To just kind of get more back on track a little bit, I do have just one last question for you guys. You guys have both expressed interest in writing. Share briefly kind of what would you like to write, what genre, what your target audience, what is it that you would like to do?
I have a science fiction idea that I think would be really, really cool. It is sort of similar to The Expanse, but also wildly different.
Okay.
Our target audience would be similar to The Expanse. It's going to be largely men. Men read more sci-fi than women do. And just people who enjoy good character growth, because it's my favorite thing.
So adult. Okay, Lauren.
I have so many different genre ideas, so it's interesting. So mostly it would fall under adventure slash romance, but like romance is not the main focus. It would be adventure is the main focus. And then some
Which
have a
side of the Korean romance that doesn't really pay off till the end with a small little hand holding?
yeah, basically. or tragic. um yeah.
They didn't even get to hold hands.
They didn't even get to hold hands. In fact, they just slipped through their fingers as they fell. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, I have like just so many different ideas. Like I wrote this short story that I like technically self-published. There is one copy somewhere, and like I book bound it and everything, and gave it to my friend for like Christmas. And this will actually go into our other top 10 of games, but it's basically very heavily inspired by Twilight Princess.
What about target audience? Do you have like a specific area where
Everyone, just kidding. Probably young adult. Yeah, I would hope all ages would like it. I don't think that it would be probably 10 or younger, probably wouldn't be like, I don't care, where's my fish? You know, where's my fish story? Where's my magic tree house? I don't know what is the equivalent of magic tree house nowadays, but anyway.
I don't either.
Yeah, so my target audience is anybody who likes fantasy and adventure.
Would you ever want to write a book, Josh?
No.
Okay.
If I had to, my only good idea is I am a very romance-minded person who went through a lot of crap, so I could possibly write a middle grade, like you're not alone kind of book for all the guys who get screwed over.
I think
But
that's a great name for your book.
no, I don't want to write. I wouldn't be any good at it. It's not my skill set.
Fair enough.
Okay, let's actually get into brass tacks. Let's start on our top 10 books list. I will go ahead and get us just started here. Last year, my number 10 was Macbeth, because it's my favorite Shakespeare. It's just the best one. And this year, it's the Ember and the Ashes series by Saba Tahir. This is such an unsung hero book. To me, this is what most people talk about Mistborn with, honestly. Like, it's got fantasy, it's got world building, it has the most unique romance building I've ever had, and to Lauren's perspective, it's not one that pays off. It's not one where they just bone and they're together now, which I also am appreciative of.
Wait,
Absolutely love this series.
you said this is one that I wouldn't like?
You would like, because
Oh.
it's not that way.
I was like, I don't like it when they do that.
No, I was like,
Okay.
Lauren is someone who has historically pointed out that she doesn't like when they just bone and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. It's one that builds up, and it's great. And it's not just the main romance either. There's a whole string of romances that are all more genuine to me. So that came in at my number 10. We'll go to Lauren, who loved ranking her books. It was just her favorite task she's ever done. What you got for us at number 10?
Why I laughed at that was because before we recorded this, I told him I'm squishy this week and I did not like ranking anything because it made me feel bad for the other books. Anyway. So this is how they fell this week. So I have the manga series Full Metal Alchemist as my number 10. And I was like, they have to be on there because that is all that is on that shelf right there. It's that whole series. And I actually, the reason why the books made it on my top 10, but they didn't make it in this the TV series, is because they're a lot more goofier in the manga, and like the art style gets a little bit more goofy, and I think it makes their personalities shine through a lot better. And then plus there's kind of like, I don't know, she just has this art style that is very endearing to me, and I really like, it's very close to the anime, so if people really like Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, I think you'd really like the manga. Yeah, I really like this series. I really like how they pay attention to his disabilities. So he's missing an arm and a leg, and they'll keep reminding you that he's like missing that because like he'll get in a fight or something and something breaks, so he has to go to his mechanic to make sure that like his arm and his leg works. And his mechanic is so funny because she'll get like so angry. She's like, "This was my best work. Like, why do you keep getting in these fights? Like, I need you to take care of these things because I'm giving you like state of the art mechanics here." I really like the world building and the magic in Full Metal Alchemist because it's very much. I hate when there's like a magic system that's like, I can just do it and there's no consequence. And here it's like for everything that you do, you change. There has to be something that you're changing it into. So like it's like matter is neither created nor destroyed. So you have to make sure that the cost of what you're making is paid, which is very interesting because I mean, the series is about them trying to bring back their mother. Uh, and so it's like, what is the price of like somebody's soul? Like, what would you have to pay for that? And when they were kids, it kind of came at the price of just trying, came at the price of one of the kids' whole bodies and the other one's arm and leg. Uh, so it's very interesting. It kind of like seems like it'd be super dark, but it like touches on things, but doesn't really. Like in the anime, I think it's the first 3 episodes are the darkest episodes, and then the rest of it like is lighter. But yeah, anyway, I like what you shaking your head for.
There's the whole plot about the daughter and the dog.
Yeah, that's the first 3 episodes.
I thought that was later.
No, it's the very beginning of.
The very beginning.
Yeah.
Stand corrected.
So yeah, that's the darkest part.
I genuinely am curious about this because I like anime, but I've never read manga. I have read comic books, but I've never read manga. I've watched both of the Full Metal Alchemist. Do you feel like there's less of a point to read the manga after the animes come out? I hear that excuse with books, but I'm like, one, it's very different. Like, one is a written word versus a visual medium. This one's a visual medium versus a visual medium, and it's made me not want to get into to manga as much. Do you think there's any do you know what I mean? Is there any validation to that?
Normally I like if you like the anime, I would be like, nah, you don't read the manga. Then like usually they follow very closely, but one of the ones that I would say like you should read the manga is Fruits Basket.
Okay.
Oh wait, no, reverse. Do not read the manga. Watch the anime for Fruits Basket. Sorry, because I read Fruits Basket because I get into manga because either the anime stops and I'm like, oh my gosh, where's like the rest of it? And they never pick it up, so then I pick up the manga. Because basically all it is like the storyboard of the anime is basically what manga is. So I would say pick up manga if the anime isn't totally true to it, if you don't want to wait for the next season of the anime, or like if the anime's finished, because there's one, it was like this vampire one that there was only one season. I got super obsessed with it, but it was discontinued, so I picked up the manga and read it. But I really don't think that there's a need to go back and read a manga if you've seen the anime. I only did with Full Metal because I just really wanted more Full Metal content. And I noticed just little bit differences with the anime versus this, and I really liked the.
But it's pretty small. It's not like a book where they have a whole section of the book that is just kind of not there.
In fact, animes have more than what manga have because they'll have filler episodes. Because they can pump out a anime. A lot of times the anime will catch up with the manga, and the manga's like trying to release stuff out, so that's where you get like beach episodes or filler episodes from. So it's kind of the reverse with manga and anime with books and movies, which is funny.
I think that's actually a good argument for manga, because those filler episodes are the worst.
Yeah, I guess, yeah. So.
Usually they're the worst.
Yeah.
Every once in a while you get a gold one, but usually they're terrible.
Yeah.
Right, cool.
So, yeah. That's my number 10 is Full Metal.
Okay, Conlon. Number 10.
Okay, my number 10 last year was Endurance by Alfred Lansing, and this year is Elfstones of Shannara. And I debated putting this on last year. It used to be my favorite book of all time. But I didn't, and I don't really know why, because I just love it, and I reread it recently, and it's fantastic. Sword of Shannara is people always call it a Lord of the Rings ripoff. I actually like it better than Lord of the Rings, which is sacrilegious, but I think the magic system is more fleshed out in Shannara, and I really enjoy that, along with having great characters and everything else. Elfstones of Shannara is a fantastic follow-up book. It's great. It's well thought out. The characters are fantastic. It's very, like, it feels young reader. I think you could introduce this to a 7th, 8th grader who likes reading, and they would have a really good time. It's very magical. It's very whimsical. And it's from a time of fantasy that is largely dead, where we are less whimsical in our fantasy now. We are more character driven to the point of almost trauma. And this one's more just escape into a magical world. Enjoy the creatures, enjoy the interesting ideas. And it has a fantastic twist.
All right. Going on to number 9. My number 9 last year was Ninth House by Lee Bardugo. Still is a fantastic book. Did not make my list this year. My number 9 this year is The Completionist Chronicles. I'm already on book 5. I'm absolutely cruising through this series. And it's fantastic. And Conlon is probably going to tell you how great it is later, too. So I'll just leave it at that. Lauren, what's number 9 for you?
The Aragon series. So, I actually didn't read these until, like, I saw the movie first, loved the movie, and then I read this series maybe 3 years ago, and I actually loved it. I really like, now I can't even think of what the, Morgan? Is that the character? I probably messed up. But, yeah, I really like his character arc throughout it. I like the magic system in this. It blows my mind how young the writer was when he wrote these. And yeah, this is like the fantasy type of things that like I like reading about. It like had kind of a romance, but not really, because she definitely shoots him down at the end. But yeah, I really like how this is more focused on like the dragons, the politics of this world, the world building. Yeah, I enjoyed this series a lot. I need to re-listen actually.
Cool. Okay, Conlon. Number 9, what you got?
My number 9, speaking of Completionist Chronicles, is Ruthless by Dakota Kraut. Completionist Chronicles has like 11 books now, 12 books, something like that.
12.
And Ruthless is my favorite. I believe that's number 5. Yeah, that's my favorite one. I just have a lot of fun with this series. It's just enjoyable to me. Like, it's about a guy who gets crippled, so it gets put into an alternate world where he can walk and he can cultivate and he can get bigger and become more powerful. And he gets this really unique, cool class that he has to think to be able to apply, and he has to outwork everybody. And I love the aspect of you have to work for it that's in this series. I also love how all of these side characters progress and they feel like they actually are progressing and they actually matter to the story instead of it just being pushed forward by our main character. It can come from any point of view and be well done. It's very lighthearted. It's funny. It's just enjoyable. It is just an enjoyable series.
So why just Ruthless make your list? You said that was your favorite, so I'm assuming that's the highest on your list.
I picked one book for each thing. I didn't do series.
Okay. And why number 9? I actually thought this was going to fall higher on your list.
Because there were just too many other things that I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Okay. Here is my question for you about this series.
Yeah.
This is not to do with top 10s. So far, there has been a lot of setup of a lot of different things.
Mm-hmm.
My one criticism is there has been zero payoff.
That's fair.
Does it ever tie back into some of the bigger themes that they had set up earlier?
Yes, but slowly. And it might be slow enough that you don't like I'm in whatever book this is, 11, 12, whatever it is. And it's answering some questions now, but not all of them. And not I mean, last book was halfway through the series. So, we still have the second half where a lot of the answers should happen. But I love the ride so much that sure, I think
I'm
it'll be good.
loving the ride. I absolutely am. It's
Yeah.
just, we had this setup in book one that was brilliant, and now I feel like it's been completely abandoned. Like, it's not even talked about.
My one worry with the series is you have the Divine Dungeon, which you should read. Like I recommend it. It's good. They changed the narrator for the last book, and it's awful. Like I hate the narrator. That changed the narrator, but the book series is good. It's the establishment of the world that you're reading in Completionist Chronicles. So it's like a prequel that you didn't know when you were first reading that it was a prequel. There's also this third series that I haven't read, and I'm hoping that Completionist Chronicles is complete in its own, and that you don't have to read this other series that is also like 16 books for you to understand the entire situation. Like, that is my big worry about the series. Just don't screw that up, Dakota. Don't screw that up. Other than that, I think the ending of Divine Dungeon was satisfying enough. I've read some of his other book series. He ends them well. I have hope.
Okay.
I have hope.
One last thing about this. So sorry, Lauren. I listened to like 6 books since Conlon was last on the podcast, so I've got to ask him. I have a theory.
Okay.
You don't have to confirm or deny. Just give me like a hot or cold percentage. The monsters that forced everybody to come in the game are created because of the game.
We don't know yet.
No. Fine. I thought I was really clever because at first I was like, that was one of the things I was annoyed with was okay, now everybody's coming into the game, so the whole first book where his friend tells him in confidence that like, hey, you may actually be able to exit the game. And now I was literally sitting on my couch thinking about how stupid that was. And then I was like, wait, hold on. His body's gone, but he can still come out of the game. What if the monsters invading Earth are from the game? And then
That's what I think too, but we don't know.
I also had a realization the other day. It's a video game that they're all stuck in, yeah?
Basically.
No, not basically. That's what they are. they're
I
in
mean,
a video game. That's what it is.
It's an alternate reality.
In a game that was programmed and designed and set up, yeah?
Sorta.
No, not sort of. That's what it is.
Divine Dungeon, you realize the Divine Dungeon series is from Cal's point of view, and Cal is a dungeon that has sentience and wants to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you are inside of that dungeon. So sort of.
Created and designed and has rules like a video game.
Yes.
The point is, I would be in this game, yeah? But I may have also recorded voice lines for said game. So I could be in the game talking to somebody who sounds exactly like me because
That's interesting.
recorded me, like my voice would be as said character. That's just an NPC. But everybody went into this game, right? So that like art designers are in there. They'd be like, hey, I put the texture on that grass, and it was just a stupid thought that I had.
No, that's interesting.
It doesn't really matter, but I was like,
It doesn't, but
what if
that's
I
interesting.
voiced like a god, and I had to go pray to myself? Because I was the voice actor for said god. Anyway, doesn't really matter. Moving on. My number 8 last year was To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. I think it's one of the most important books for people to read. My number 8 this year is the Among the Hidden series by Margaret Peterson Haddix. It's a brilliant series. I think every book hits. And for me, as the forgotten child in my family, I think it's like, hey, you know when you were forgot at the grocery store? What if that was like your whole life? And it really is like emphasizes that feeling. I don't really know what else to say about it. It's about a kid in a world where they aren't allowed to have third children, who is a third child, so he has to be hidden from society. And he comes up and meets other third children that were born and have different roles and that kind of stuff, and is very tragic in the first book. And there's all my favorite themes are in this series: hope, perseverance, resiliency. It's all there, and it's just beautiful. And the adventures he goes on is very cool and unique, and I definitely did not predict some of the things that he was going to come across. It's just well written. So, Lauren, what you got for number 8?
I want to preference that I realized I ranked all of these books and like thought of these books as comfort books. So, because I realized when you're like, I think everybody should read this book, and I was like, I realized that I have a whole list of books that I think people should read, and none of them are on my list.
Totally fair. To Kill a Mockingbird actually did fall off my list for that purpose, that I don't really read it anymore. But last year it was on my list for the reason of it being an important piece of literature. But yeah.
Yeah, so just so you guys know, this is my list of comfort books, apparently. I just realized that. So yeah, number 8 is Ranger's Apprentice series. It's really funny because I remember at the time I was reading these, Hunger Games was very popular, but I was practicing with my recurve bow because I wanted to be like Will in Ranger's Apprentice. And so like I was learning all these trick shots and stuff. I don't think that I was very good. I was good for the distance that I was shooting at, which was not very far. It was like maybe 20 yards, like however long my yard was, that's the distance I was shooting at. And like I would try doing like the sideways, like up, yeah. Anyway, I just remember one night I was practicing and one of my dad's friends came over and he's like, "Oh, we have a little Katniss over here." And I was like, "Excuse me, it's Will, but whatever." Get your book right. Yeah, I really like this series. It is one that like it went on forever and I wasn't mad that it went on forever. I think I read up to 12. I'm not sure if he came out with more. I kind of want to go back and reread this series, and if he has more, read those. Except he had one that he came out with called Lost Stories, and I do not count that as part of this series because something happens in the Lost Stories that in my headcanon, is not canonical. But yeah, it's a really good series. You have Will, and I believe it's Halt. Yeah, Halt. Are just like he's just like the rugged older. Why can't I think of that, like tutor person that it's. I don't know why, but like I will eat up this character every single freaking time. Where they're kind of like the gruff person that's ends up being kind of like a father figure to the person that they're training, and it's like they didn't want to, but they end up doing it. But yeah, so I really like this series. I kind of want to reread them. They're very good.
It's been on my list for a long time.
Like
since I was 12. Long time.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I was like, I have all of the physical ones up to 12, but that doesn't help you.
It does not. But that's okay, I have Libby.
That's true.
As soon as I catch up on Completionist Chronicles, it will probably be my next one because I'm still hesitant on Lord of the Rings. Okay, Conlon, what you got for us?
Okay, my number 8 last year was Exile by R.A. Salvador, which fell off my list just because I think I like other things better now. And then I realized I kind of broke my rule. The Mother of Learning by Domagov Kermik, I think it's how you say his last name. He's a Russian. He wrote them as 3 volumes, not really books, but if I had to pick my favorite of the volumes, it would be 2. 2 would be my favorite of the volumes. It is
But you did put a whole series on the book, so you did break your rule.
I did break my rule. So I'm going to put 2, volume 2.
Nope, you can't change it. It's already on your list. You picked a series.
I just changed it as I was talking.
No, you just submitted it. Okay, we're good.
Volume 2. Anyway, it's a really cool series with a... So the character of Zoran is your main character. He's going to a prep academy for magic students, and he is a character who is the middle child, and his brother, his older brother, is like a magic prodigy. It would be like being Hermione's little brother. Like you're screwed. That sucks. And he's constantly compared to his older sibling. And I love the family dynamics that are in this book of our main character having to come to the realization that my mom isn't a horrible witch. My dad isn't terrible. My sister, who I think was an annoying brat, is okay. My brother, who, yes, he's super gifted at magic, he has other problems that are selling him. And you watch the character expand as he understands his family more. That's one of my favorite parts of the series. But he goes to this magic school, and because of weird situations, he ends up in this time loop that he has to figure out a way out of. And it is the best time loop that has ever been done, period. I've never come across anything else that I like, even close. The way that he gets out of the time loop is really cool. The ending of the entire series is extremely satisfying and one of the best endings to a series that I have ever read. It does every aspect really well. The magic system is really cool. Like he has a lot of really good ideas in the magic system. The world feels really fleshed out. What's required for him to be able to accomplish his goal is massive. Like he has to do some things that he doesn't even really want to do because it's the only way that he is able to complete the story. I think this book is masterfully written and is large enough in scope that it would be hard to complete and have it be satisfying. I give this as much credit as I do because the ending is so freaking good.
Very cool. Yeah. All right. On to number 7. Last year it was Shadowhunter by Michael Reeves and read by Sam Witwer. It has fallen off my list this year simply because I realized I really enjoyed it, but I'm not going back to it, and it didn't really have any other meanings to me other than it was just enjoyable. My number 7 this year is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. This is another book entirely about romance and love, and even more specifically how love is torture and how it can be used against you was brilliant. This gives me has led me into a lot of conversations about what would you do here, what if this, what if that, and to me is the most perfect book emphasizing what real love is, and it's hard to talk about it without giving anything away with it, but it is just such a great book. I know I made Lauren read it. I know it wasn't her favorite thing. It's not gonna be for everybody.
I'm still trying to finish this book, not because I think it's bad, not because of any of that. It made me so sad.
Yeah. It is literally about how like how important love is, but how evil it is at the same time. Um, I connect to this book personally on just so many different levels. It's hard to just name just a few things about it. It is just brilliant. My last little thought on it is, if you're in a relationship, think about or have a conversation with your significant other where you ask this question: if your significant other was the only person who could remember you, how happy would you be with that life? Because this whole book is, she makes a deal that gets twisted, so every time she walks out of sight from somebody, they no longer remember her. So that has different pros and cons. That's a fun little what if conversation to have. Like, what would you do with that power? How long could you live with that loneliness, etc., etc. Until she meets this one guy who can remember her. And it adds a lot of dynamic, interesting things that come up because of the book. But, how okay would you be if every time you walked out of the room, only that person will remember you? Just a little thought process for a challenge for you guys. It's led me down a lot of different realizations and things, and I think it's an important one to kind of, maybe not important, but it's a good one to go over and just explore that thought process. Okay, Lauren, what you got for number 7?
I've talked about this one on the podcast before. It is the Inkheart series. Once again, like, this is one that's very comfort to me because, like, I really liked this book growing up. It's what kind of got me creating a lot. I had, like, this series that I was writing as a kid to, like, dissociate from everything going on, and I realized that it was like the world that Inkheart built in my head was kind of like the blueprint for that story. So Inkheart will always have, like, a special place in my heart. And it's I re-listened to it recently, and it held up, and I still think it's really good. And I would say listen to the one, because I listened to it on audiobook, the one with Brendan Fraser voicing is very good.
You just like Brendan Fraser a lot.
I do love Brendan Fraser. Yeah. No denying it.
No arguments.
He's great.
Okay, Conlon, number 7, what you got?
Hey, my number 7 was Principles last year by Ray Dalio, which is still a fantastic book. But I was thinking about books. This is the one that I don't come back to. I'm really glad that I read it. Did make me better at my job. Made me better at business. But it's not my favorite. And number 7 this year actually surprised me. This is the one surprising one. It was Rhythm of War by Brandon Sanderson. Last year I didn't have any Sanderson books on my list at all. This one is my favorite, and this is nobody else's favorite of the Stormlight or his books in general. I love certain characters in the Stormlight series, and Kaladin is my favorite. Before book 5, which I ranted on this podcast, and how much of a disappointment that book was to me, Kaladin was a character that I liked enough that, like, I would debate naming my child after this character. Like, I love this character. And in the first book, he has a point where he's debating suicide, and he decides that he's going to fight for his life instead. And it's a pivotal part of the book and the character's motivations, and a lot of the reason why people love that first book so much. I also love that, but I don't see the aftermath of the fight very often. And when you have depression, you kind of have to fight for your life almost every day, and when it's really, really bad, you have to fight even harder. And the problem is the darkness just waits for you, kind of no matter what you do. And you have to keep fighting. And book 4 is about Kaladin, and the darkness is still waiting there for him. And how does he keep fighting when the war is over? When the thing that was distracting him is done? How do you keep going? It's an interesting question. And it's a question that I don't see tackled anywhere. I see people bring up depression. How do you fight it? I see stories about it. Some of them written really well, some of them not. But nobody brings up what happens when the fight that you choose to fight is done. What happens when you won that war? And I love that aspect of this book. The rest of the book could be complete garbage. And I would still love that aspect of the character development so much in this book that I had a hard time not putting it on the list. But the rest of the book is also still, in my opinion, good.
Sweet. Okay. Number 6 for me last year was Gregor the Overlander by Suzanne Collins. This year is Unbroken by Lara Hillenbrand. It's a history book. I love history. And its main topics are hope and perseverance and resiliency. 3 things that are just super important to me. And I love the knowledge of this being practiced in real life. It's always something I can go back to and read, and it's always one that inspires me. Lauren, what you got?
Funny that you mentioned your last year's, because mine is Gregor the Overlander for this year. It's funny because, like, I remember reading the first book and being like, okay. But then the more I read the series, like, the more I really like this series. It's really easy to, like, go back and re-listen because they are short. And I don't think there's, like, a lot of fluff. I think it is really easy to listen to. So yeah, I put Gregor up there on 6. If you want to hear me talk about Gregor, find our other episodes where we talk about Gregor. It's a good one.
Okay, Conlon, what you got?
My number 6 stayed the same. It's The Forgotten Highlander by Alistair Urquhart. It's a biography from him. He was a World War II vet, and he had a terrible, terrible, terrible life and had to survive a lot of absolute garbage. And it's my favorite, like, triumph over the odds. Stick it to the man. I'm gonna survive no matter what. I'm a badass story based on history. It's just my favorite one. It's really good.
Cool. World War II is a very cool time. I watched a Fat Electrician episode just yesterday about a Portuguese, Portugalian? I don't know what they call themselves. Anyway, this chicken farmer from Portugal basically said, I don't want to be a chicken farmer no more. So he went to try and be a spy for the English, and the English said, no, you're some random guy. We're not going to trust you. And so he said, well, fine, I'll go be a spy for the Nazis. Except he was in a library in Portugal the entire time. So the Nazis said, well, if you really have this knowledge, go give us this intel that we already know, just so that we can confirm that you're reliable. So he goes and he gives the intel. And they're like, okay, this guy he's the real deal. So they said, what do you need? XYZ, whatever. And so he pulled up an apartment listing from the paper from England and said, I'm moving in here. This is where I'm going to live. So the Nazis said, okay, we're going to pay your rent. And in return, he said, okay, I have these 3 buddies that also want to be spies for you. So they said, we're going to give them salaries too. Except these 3 buddies, not real people. So he was just breaking in the door. He built an entire fake spy network and was basically like giving the Nazis false intel just to make some money. And it got to the point where he gave intel about this big shipment of supplies coming into England, that the Nazis dispatched their top fleet to go take out these supplies. But they weren't there. And the British caught wind of this, because they're like, where are they getting this intel from? There's no supply shipment coming from over there. What is even going on? So they figured out there must have been a mistranslation, and there's a spy in England. So they searched for him and could not find him. And he keeps doing this, and then he gets the brilliant idea to, like, intentionally screw with the Nazis. So now he's intentionally giving false information to the Nazis. And then they're still doing all this kind of stuff. He eventually goes to the British embassy and is like, hey, so this is my spy network that doesn't really exist that I'm making all this money from. I want to continue being a spy and give them more accurate false information. So the British are like, this is pretty dope. So he gets pulled in, moved to England, and is now taking a paycheck from the British and the Nazis. And is just feeding the Nazis false intel and false intel and false intel. And this is really interesting because one of the reasons Normandy was was as successful as it was is because they used the Ghost Army and this guy as false intel to say that they were forming a fleet to land somewhere else. And when the Germans went to pull forces to shut down Normandy, because Normandy was being attacked, first of all, the commander that was put in charge of defending the invasion went on holiday because this spy said they're not going to attack for 2 weeks. So he was like, it's my anniversary, I'm going to go spend it with my wife. So he was off in France, like not even knowing what's going on. Gets called in, he pulls 40,000 soldiers and 2 tank crews to come and defend Normandy. And this guy sends an emergency intel that says, it's all fake, it's not going to work, do not pull off your forces from this other point. And Hitler himself says, if you move those troops, he signed off on the thing to stop them from defending Normandy. And this intel was so important, he got the Nazi cross. Like, wow. The Nazi version of the Medal of Honor was awarded to this spy for his intel that he was giving the Nazis through World War II.
That's wild.
There was a point where he was being challenged because they were like, hey, how did he not know this thing, right? How did he not know that they were getting this big, huge shipment of supplies? So the British Army post-dated the letter back a week and sent it off and was like, he sent a telegram that was like, hey, sorry, the spy, who's not really real, got this intel, but he died. So they put a fake obituary in the newspaper. They sent the letter late, and the Germany's response to this was, we can't keep doing this letter thing. We need to get him an up-to-date Enigma machine with accurate Nazi things. So they shipped it to MI6. Wow. So that he could do it. And then when they built their computer, that was the one that they used to break all the Nazi codes, was the one provided directly from the Nazis with the most accurate thing. Anyway, such so cool. An important dude in history. That was my little rant about World War II. Listen to the Fat Electrician, he does it better. Anyway, where are we at? Number 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. My number 5 last year was An Ember in the Ashes, Saboteur. I already spoke about that. My number 5 this year is The Greyer the Overlander series by Suzanne Collins. To me, it raised a step because of the debates we had about it on the podcast. So it's just grown in importance to me over the last year. And cool. Lauren's exactly right. It's awesome. And it's great. Okay, Lauren, what you got, number 5?
I have the Brother Band series, which is written by the same author as A Ranger's Apprentice. This, if you like the characters from How to Train Your Dragon you will love Brother Band because it is basically the exact same characters. So the main character is basically Hiccup. He's in this Viking society where he's scrawny, and so like nobody really thinks that he can man a ship or whatever. So he has like all these little inventions that sets him above everybody else. And then you have like the big nerdy dude, except he can't see. So then the Hiccup character like makes him glasses. But it's like these pinhole things that, so it's basically, if you squint, yeah. Um, and then you have the twins, the wolf twins, except I think these two are both guys. And then I think, I can't remember if there has to be a girl character. I can't remember. I read these like more than 10 years ago. And then, but like every single character I realized had a mirror character in How to Train Your Dragon. Um, but I really like the little inventions that this guy comes up with and all the places that they sail to, um, because the Brother Band and Ranger's Apprentice world is very much mimics like our world. So they're in Scandinavia, but then they'll like sail to other places that are like equal to our world. Um, yeah, I really like them. It went up from the Ranger's Apprentice one just because I like the shenanigans that they get into, and there's a lot more characters that they focus on. And I really love How to Train Your Dragon, and he does a really well parody of those characters. So
Did it come out after How to Train? No, it had
yeah,
to have been before.
it came out after How to Train Your Dragon, I believe.
Cool.
Let me check.
How old is How to
The
Train?
first one came out in 2011. How to Train Your Dragon, I don't know when How to Train. The first of these books came out in 2011. How to Train Your Dragon.
2010 is when How to Train Your Dragon came in. So I think it's, yeah, the year later. But there are How to Train Your Dragon books that were out previous to this as well.
Yeah, but they were nothing like the movies.
No, they weren't. Yeah. So yeah, it looks like by a year, How to Train Your Dragon came out.
Well, How to Train Your
I
Dragon
am-
is older than I thought it was.
I'm gonna read these. I like Ranger's Apprentice. I don't like them as much as it seems like everybody else does, but I like them. This sounds really good.
Yeah. And honestly, I do have it ranked above Ranger's Apprentice, and I really love Ranger's Apprentice. But I was thinking of if I was which series I wanted to reread first, it would be Brother Band. In fact,
Cool.
I thought I had Brother Band on my thing, but it's actually Ranger's Apprentice. I had like Brother Band in my car for the longest time. Like I had the first 3 books just in my car all the time. But
That's cool.
yeah.
Okay, Conlon, number 5, what you got?
Number 5. My number 5 last year was The Wisdom of Crowds by Joe Abercrombie, and this year it is The Wisdom of Crowds by Joe Abercrombie. I think Joe Abercrombie is the best character writer that I've ever read. Each character has a very distinct voice, and because Joe is so willing to go grimdark, like these stories are not light; they are very, very dark. He can get into human emotions and human psychology that I don't see almost anything get into at all ever. It messed up stuff happens to these characters, and it causes them to change in fundamental ways. They do messed up stuff to live in a fundamentally screwed up world. And this book is the last one of his second series. I think it's just brilliant. It comes together extremely well. He has discussions on like our civility and our governmental systems and like that are really well thought out but aren't shoved in your face. And I can't tell what he believes. I don't know. I don't know if he's a lefty. I don't know if he's a righty. I don't know. It's done in a fantasy setting where they can just explore ideas, and it's explored extremely well. It explores the idea of like, what would it be like to live in an era where manufacturing is coming into fruition? Do you grow up? Or do you change with that? How do you change with that? What happens to the people that are left behind? Should we care about the people that are left behind? It deals with a lot of really deep ideas, and none of them are shallow, and it doesn't give you a single answer to what you should think, along with just being fantastic characters. With that, it's my second favorite narrator of all time. There's a character called Glockter, and Glockter, I've talked to about him on the podcast before, but he's this up and coming star, this guy who's amazing with a sword. He's going to lead armies. He's that kind of person, and he gets captured, and for years he gets put into this. Go ahead.
Well, I just got to ask the most important question we can ask on this podcast. Does he look like a rock star?
This Glockter?
Is he rockstar handsome?
Is he rock star?
I mean, he didn't. I get where you're coming from. At first I was like, what are you talking about? At first they describe him exactly like that. Yeah, that's exactly how Joe describes him. You see, that is his no, he doesn't talk about him like that at all. He's a much better writer. Anyway, yes, this rock star handsome guy gets stuck in a cave for like years, and he gets demented and he gets smashed, so he has this lisp whenever he's talking, but in his own head he doesn't hear the lisp, and the narrator does that for every single character, which is super cool. What you hear in your head is not the same voice that comes out of your mouth, and I've never seen anybody else do that. I still have never seen anybody else do that, and it's super cool and adds a lot to these stories.
Very cool. Okay, number 4 for me last year was the first Dungeon Crawler Carl book by Matt Dinneman. My number 4 this year is the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. Just the first trilogy. I have elected that is just going to be my trilogy, and I'm going to pretend that everything is happy after, and that the kid is happy, and everything is great.
Why did you decide that?
Because I'm done with it. Like I know that he's going to have trauma, and I know that it's going to fall. He's going to have his own hero's journey, and I don't like that. He's a happy kid in a happy childhood, and our main character fixed everything, and everything's great, and we're good.
Okay.
I don't want him to be hating his dad, a character that I love, or his mom, a character that I love, and I don't want that to be ruined. I am perfectly happy with this. Is a brilliant trilogy, save for the first third of the first book, and it's just great. We've talked about it to death. The class system, the characters, the development, the overcoming, the perseverance, the resiliency, all of those things are big elements of these books too, and it's just great. So I'm going to just leave it great so it doesn't get hurt. But that's where I'm at right now. Okay, Lauren, what you got? Number 4.
I got Fablehaven. This used to always be when people are like, "Oh, what's your favorite book?" I would always just be like, Fablehaven. It's dropped. I kind of had my re-listen this year. I used to re-listen to it every summer. Probably still will. Because this series is near and dear to my heart. But I did start having problems with Rockstar Pretty and other things in the book that I was noticing that I was like, oh yeah, maybe not my favorite. And I just have such a problem with Bracken. I can definitely tell that this is a dad who's you're only going for the nice guy to his daughter. This is what it feels like.
With Bracken in the first series or in the second?
I have more of a problem with him in the second. I have a problem with him being an immortal being and her being 14.
That's fair.
That's my biggest problem. And like, I feel like she had way more chemistry with Gavin, even though there is a problem with that because he's also an immortal being.
Yeah, I totally forgot that when I did my reread. I was like, why is Gavin not in the later books? We go to a dragon sanctuary. Why is he not there? I literally didn't remember that at all.
Yeah, no, I wish that she had a character that was like fit her better than just being like, it's a unicorn. Who doesn't like a unicorn? I'm like, it's freaking weird.
It's a
um,
unicorn. That's Rockstar handsome. What more could you want?
yeah, so it dropped a little bit because of those things. I think Fablehaven might always end up being on my top 10. Um, but yeah,
Slowly, I'm winning. Slowly. We'll see.
Gregor's. I did notice Gregor is there is one in between Gregor and Fablehaven.
Okay, Colin, what you got for us?
My number 4, my next ones just don't change that much. My number 4 is Dungeon Crawler Carl, Book 3, The Anarchist Cookbook by Matt Dinneman. I just think this is the best one. I love the map layout. I like the character growth. It has an insane amount of character growth for the side of the book. It's just good. We've talked about it before. It's a really good book.
Good choice. Okay, going down to number 3. My number 3 last year was Dungeon Crawler Carl, Anarchist Cookbook by Matt Dinneman. My number 3 this year is A Night Circus by Aaron Morgenstern. It is basically the same themes and principles of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, but what if it worked out? That's all I got to say. It's about real love and sacrifice and how it can torment you, but in this one, what if you fight for it and it works? So that's all I got to say. It's a beautiful book. It's got the most whimsical feeling of any book I've ever read, and I have physically read this one. I have not listened to the audiobook version, but I'm sure it's great. It's great. Everybody should listen to this book or read this book because it's great. Okay, Lauren, what you got number 3?
I have Beyonders by Brandon Mull. I am in a minority here. Everyone I have talked to that reads this does not like it as much as I do. What?
Sorry.
Oh. I like the magic system, and I like how in this one it takes us to like a different world. Like somebody from our world goes to a different world, and it has like one of my favorite characters, Farron. I love his arc because like it's very like interesting, his point of view throughout like the series, and like he ends up spoiler alert, he ends up helping the main people kind of like almost against his will, but then he's like trying to be good for this one person that he felt like he genuinely had a friendship with, and so he's trying to fight against like what he's known his whole life just to stay true to this one friend. And I don't know, I absolutely love Farron as a character, and I love the weird type of characters that they have. Like they have the Amar Cabal, they have the Displacers, they have I can't remember what the little dwarf people were called, Drenlings. I really like those ideas and how they were like created by these wizards. I love the magic system. I don't understand why more people don't like it. Because, like, out of like Fablehaven and Beyonders, I love Fablehaven, but I think Beyonders is Brandon Mull's favorite book, and that is not a popular opinion.
Oh, I think it's easily the second best series that he's done.
What's the
Easily.
first, do you think?
Fablehaven. That's
Oh,
the
okay.
first one.
Yeah, I would rank Beyonder's Fablehaven above Fablehaven, and so I know I'm in the minority there. But yeah, I usually when I do my Fablehaven read through, I listen to Beyonders first, and then I do Fablehaven. Um, yeah, I really like this. I think also like when I'm physically reading a book and not listening to a book, I will listen to instrumental music. And my playlist was fire when I first read this. I like there's like this ending part that had like this big like this the ending's big and there's like this moment that it was like leading up to like these characters sacrificing themselves for this to happen and I was listening to what is that movie where he spins the top and it might topple over and it might not.
Inception.
Inception. There's like that music at the end where it like starts swelling and then it like goes quiet again. That like was going on when I was reading this part and it like lined up perfectly with what was going on. It was so
That's
good.
so cool.
And so I think like having that experience with this book has made it skyrocket up. But I also really enjoy this book. I really enjoy the characters. Like I said, I think Farron's like one of my favorite characters of all time. Um, because like I like the creativity of what he is and then like how he deals with what he is. And his point of view of things. Yeah, so that's Beyonders on number 3. I thought it was 4 for a second.
I'm gonna re-listen to the Beyonders because I re-listened to Dragon Watch and we can talk about it on a real episode. But I went from absolutely unbelievably despising that series to being like, I was too hard on it. It's got problems, but it's not as trash awful as I remembered.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give Brandon Mull another shot. When I was done. I was like, I'm not reading any of your books. I'm not rereading Fablehaven. I hate you. Like I was so mad.
Yeah, no, I really like Brandon Mole. And I probably give him more chances than anybody. But
Okay, Colin, what you got number 3?
My number 3 was Pet Cemetery. It is still Pet Cemetery. Pet Cemetery is the only book that has ever made me cry. I have lost 2 brothers, and I've talked about it before, but the fact that Stephen King could contemplate losing a kid and write death and loss and sadness better than anything else I have ever read without actually experiencing that is insane to me. I don't understand how it's possible. I don't get it. But as far as someone explaining what it is like to be told that someone just died, that is really important to you, and the amount of emptiness and loss and confusion, it's mind blowing to me that he could write it. I don't comprehend it. Fantastic book. Will probably be always on my top 10.
Fair enough. Okay, down to number 2. My number 2 last year was A Night Circus by Aaron Morgenstern. My number 2 this year is Head Game by Tim Downs. Was my number 1 last year. It's the book that made me love reading again, or for the first time, I guess. It has a brilliant twist. The way that it's written, you know what you want to have happen, you know what the character knows, and yet you still doubt all along the way what he's gonna do. It's such a good twist on a murder mystery book. It's quick, it's an easy read, and it's super underappreciated. As in, like, every time I bring it up, people are like, never even heard of it. Like, but it's so good. Read it. So, yeah, I mean, you can go back and listen to last year's. I'm sure I talked a little bit more about why it's so great, but it's great. Okay, Lauren, number 2.
okay, I have One Dark Window This is a gothic romance, not a dark romance. I'm pretty sure I've told that story before on this podcast. So One Dark Window, it has a unique magic system that I think is really cool. Um, I like. I'll try to explain it a little bit, but I'm probably gonna murder it. So it opens up with like, uh, there's these people who are born with magic, but they try to kill them, um, because like it manifests in different ways, and normally these people will have physical showings that they're this magical thing. Um, but a lot of times people can hide it, but then when their magic manifests, and it'll be like something different each time. So like there's probably like somebody who like touches something and it will be cold or whatever, and so they're like, they've been tainted, and so they kill them, or they banish them to the mists, which is essentially killing them. And this girl, she didn't realize, they were able to hide her sickness, and then nobody could really tell that she had powers. She didn't know what her power was. But there's like these face cards that have magic powers that anybody can use. And if you have one of those, like there's one that has one power, two that has a different power, three that have a different power, four that have a different power. So there's some that are more accessible than others. And normally there's like families of like a higher status that have these cards. And there's one called the Nightmare card, and there's two Nightmare cards, and she ended up touching one of them, and her power was that she'll absorb the power of these cards. And so the Nightmare was actually like a person that was put into these cards, and so now she has like this second thing in her head, and the more she calls upon his power, the more it takes her over. And so she's trying to hide that she has this power, while there's these people that are like trying to get rid of everybody who has these things, as well as trying to find, I think it's called the Alder card. So there's the one card everybody's trying to find so that they can get the deck together and be like the most powerful family or whatever. So it's a very interesting magic system that I really like. And it has romance in it, and yeah, it's really good. And I was happy to find it because I went to Barnes and Noble, and I went to the little bookcase that they do the blind date with, where it's like covered up and it just has like a brief description on it, and I was like, I didn't even really look at it, I just like grabbed it. And I was like really happy that I grabbed that book, because I tried doing that again and did not have that same experience.
What was it called again?
One Dark Window. It
That
has
sounds really good.
another book called Two Twisted Crowns, so it's just a one and two. So that series I really like.
Who's the author?
Is it Rachel Gilling?
Sounds right. Oh no. The cover has like kind of like all gothic and a little. I think it's a girl in like a red dress and a windowish.
There's like smoke coming out of her hand or something?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Rachel Gillig.
Yeah. So that's one of my favorites. It's
cool.
romancy. Even though I didn't even talk about any romance with that. Feels good.
I will check it out. That sounds good.
Okay, Conlon. What you got number 2?
My number 2 is Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And I talked earlier about how depression can come back, and the hardest thing about depression for me is that it's like inescapable. So you have this wonderful, wonderful day, and you should just feel fantastic when you come home, but it's like it's waiting for you there to haunt you. And Viktor Frankl goes to a concentration camp And it's a lot about surviving concentration camps, what people did survive versus what people didn't, and how meaning can keep you going. And I love that idea. And when I'm in my darkest spots, in my darkest ways of thinking, I think about this book, or I reread this book. I usually read it once a year. And I focus on meaning. I focus on purpose. I focus on serving other people. I focus on surviving. And this book keeps me going.
Okay, honorable mentions. Basically, what fell off my list last year: Graceling, and then there were none by Agatha Christie. Fairy Tale by Stephen King. Still is my favorite Stephen King book. It just has a rough ending that Conlon and I both agree is like, it was so good, and then so bad. Fablehaven by Brandon Mull. I'm Glad My Mom Died. Daughter of the Pirate King. Primal Hunter, the Thrawn Trilogy. Revan, Shadow Hunter, To Kill a Mockingbird, Ninth House, and Macbeth. Lauren, you got any honorable mentions?
I do. I have the Magic Tree House books.
Score.
Nice.
I have the Goosebumps, specifically Deep Trouble, Phantom of the Auditorium, and Headless Ghost. Pax, Lord of the Rings, Peter and the Starcatchers, and The Lightning Thief.
And I didn't do the assignment, and I did not get any extra books.
That's fine.
Just what fell off your list last year?
What I fell off my list last year? Endurance by Alfred Lansing and Principles by Ray Dalio. I think that's all that fell off. Or anything else fell off? I think that's it. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, my number one this year is the Dungeon Crawler series. The reason that this beat out Head Game for me is I tell people about Head Game and I ask them to read it, and when they do read it, they come back and they're like, yeah, it's cool, and I go, good, I'm glad you liked it. Dungeon Crawler Carl, I get so much more into telling people about and convincing them to read it. There's something about asking people to read something ridiculous, like the nearest comparison is like everybody went through this thing where they're like, you gotta watch K-pop Demon Hunters, just like ignore that it's called K-pop Demon Hunters, and then everybody except for Conlon because he's crazy watches K-pop Demon Hunters and they're like, oh my gosh, that was amazing, and I can't believe it took me this long to give it a chance, which again literally happened to me last night. I was on playing Battlefield and one of them was like, I was watching K-pop Demon Hunters and I was crying at the end of it. This is a fully grown man that was telling me this while playing a war game. It's so good. I get the same satisfaction out of Dungeon Crawler Carl. Got one of my friend's wives to start reading it. I got my brother to start reading it. My other brother was like, I just don't have any other books right now, so I guess I'll give it a chance. And then I didn't see him for a month. And I went back, and he was like, I finished the series. It was amazing. Like, it's so much more satisfying to me than Head Game. That is the only reason that it beat it out. And it just continues to grow in importance. We got some great news yesterday. We have a official release date for Book 8. I texted Conlon to use his contacts to get me in early, and he didn't even respond, which sucks. But that's my number one. It's so good. Listen to it. It's one of the only books I would say you should just listen to it rather than read it, even though I have really liked, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but he has actually been releasing physical books lately. And I love the cover arts. I would love a full series of Dungeon Crawler Carl. They're all the same size. They're all the same theme. They all have the same font lettering. It's like everything that book people want in series is in this, but it's still very artistic. It's one that I would just want. I don't know if I would ever actually physically read it, but like to have that reminder on a bookshelf all the time would be very, is one I would like to start collecting. Okay, Lauren, should I guess?
Yeah.
What's your number one?
Dungeon Crawler Carl. It was so funny because beforehand, when I was telling Josh that I felt bad for my other books for ranking books, he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm sure Dungeon Crawler 1, Carl 1 is going to be so sad that you ranked Dungeon Crawler 3 above it." And I was like, "No, no, they're all the same and they're above everybody else." I'm like, they're happy where they're at on my ranking.
The Dungeon Crawler, this is where it went. The Dungeon Crawler Carl series is on top of the hill, looking down at the rest of her books, and just spits and says pathetic to the rest of them because they don't live up to it.
It is the Twilight meme where the Volturi are looking down at the rest of everything. Yeah, I really like this series. I like how it goes from silly to serious and does it very well. I love all the shenanigans they get up to. I love all the creativity. I love how well he writes a cat. I love how well he writes like women and men and situations and
goats.
I love Prepotente. Yeah, it's really yeah, I recommend this to everybody. It whatever mood I'm in, I could listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl. Doesn't matter. Yeah, and like I said, I mentioned this in one of our episodes before. I've like re-listened to Dungeon Crawler Carl fully through 4 times now, and I don't even think I've been listening to like I think I just barely. It's been a year.
It's been over a year, but yeah,
Slightly
not
over a
long
year,
enough
yeah.
to be, yeah.
And I've listened to this series. It's like I'll listen to this series, then maybe I'll listen to another series, and then I'll re-listen to Dungeon Crawler Carl. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Number 1.
Okay,
That's
Conlon,
very, very
the
good.
one who started this snowball that made us love Dungeon Crawler Carl, and it only made number 3 on your list. What is your number 1?
My number 1 is Kingdoms of Death by Christopher Rocchio. I think this is the greatest series currently being written. And Dungeon Crawler is great in a different way. Like, it has a lot of deep aspects to it. The narration's fantastic. The characters are fantastic. Kingdoms of Sun Eater is a sci-fi epic, and it's not as humorous, but it is so epic. Like, I can't even explain it. The last book comes out in like 19 days, and I am so excited. I can't explain how excited I am. But Kingdoms of Death is just brutal. It's just a brutal book, but it's so good. I've talked to Josh about this before, but the author, Christopher, has what Josh has, where he can't imagine things. And the fact that he wrote books that have some of the best imagery that I have ever read is insane. I don't even know how it's possible. It seems like it shouldn't be possible, but the way he does it is he writes it like a stage production. So you have like this scene, and characters will come in from stage left and perform whatever they're going to perform and exit stage right. And because it's written that way, everything is visceral. I can picture the scenes as I'm talking about it right now. I said that Pet Sematary is the only book that made me cry. This one was so close. I had to do the man like nothing because I was so close reading this book. I love the sci-fi aspects of it. I love the way that he incorporates different cultures. I love the war. There's an epic scene in this. It's like so. It gives me chills. It makes goosebumps go on. It like raises the hair. It's so good. There's nothing that's not thought out in this book series, like at all. it's just great. I really hope this next book is even the level of his second worst book. If it is that level, this will be my favorite series of all time. It's just so damn good. And you see your main character go from this like spoiled punk to being like a admiral type character, very distinguished. You see him go through his life, you see him get older. And I love exploring characters, and Hadrian Marlowe is his name, is my favorite character ever written. I love the transition of him. Like, it's a Zuko level transition to me. It's like, it's that good. And the world is so fleshed out, and the history is so fleshed out, and it's just perfection. It's just perfect to me.
Okay, thank you everybody for watching and or listening. Really appreciate you guys. Let us know what books you want us to be reviewing over this next year. We'd love more suggestions. We all have jobs where we can cruise through books, so let us know. I really appreciate it. Remember to be better today than you were yesterday, and have a great one.